Date, time, place, and purpose of the meeting, identified the location available to the public, has been posted. Audio recordings being made of the meeting and minutes of the meeting will be recorded. Item 1, our call to order. Meeting being called to order at 10 a.m. on Friday, July 12, 2024. We'll establish a quorum. As I call names of commission members, please state the location of your presence for the meeting. Dylan Baldwin.
Fourth floor boardroom, Jackson, Mississippi.
Thanks, sir. Jamie Creel.
Present, floor, Mississippi.
Thank you, sir, and we do hear you. Rebecca Gray.
Present, Aisha, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. Mary Hill Taylor.
Present, Jackson, Mississippi.
Ma'am. John Howard.
Present, Clarksville, Mississippi.
Thank you, sir. Kim Hubbard. Hubbard. Dr. Teresa J. Rowe.
Present, Starkville, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Bernell Kelly. Dr. Kelly. For some reason your audio is not working. If you would let us know in the chat that you're here and your location. David Martin, present, fourth floor Jackson. William Murphy.
Present, fourth floor Jackson.
Sir. Dr. Teresa Poole.
Present, fourth floor Jackson.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Etta Taplin.
Present, fourth floor Jackson.
Thank you, ma'am. And Aaron Wilson.
Present, Lumberton, Mississippi.
Thank you, sir. All right, appreciate everybody making the time to join us today.
Hi. Dr. Moore, this is Kim Hubbard. Present,
Thank you, ma'am. What's your location?
Lowell, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. Gotcha. All right, appreciate everybody joining us here today. Quorum on the commission is present at the location stated for conducting a meeting through in-person and teleconference means. Moving on to item 3, approval of the minutes of our May 3rd, 2024 meeting of commission on teacher and administrator education, certification, licensure, and development. Entertain a motion for approval of those minutes from May 3rd, 2024. Please identify yourself for the record. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Need a second? Need a second?
Second, William Murphy. Second, William Murphy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All right, move for a vote in favor of those. Everybody say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, approval of the minutes from the May 10th, 2024 special call meeting of Commission on Teacher and Administrator Education, Certification, Licensure, and Development. Entertain a motion for approval of those meeting minutes. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, Dylan Baldwin.
Motion to approve, Kim Hubbard.
I'll second that, Dylan Baldwin.
We'll do that. Thank you, Ms. Hubbard. Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Any discussion? All right, we'll move for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of hearing subcommittee minutes from May 3rd, 2024. Entertain a motion for approval for those minutes. Members present today were Dr. Shelley Simmons, William Murphy, and Dylan Baldwin. Reminder, it's just got to be those members that were there. Need a motion.
Motion to approve, Dylan Baldwin.
Sir?
Second, William Murphy.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, approval of hearing subcommittee minutes from May 22nd, 2024. A reminder, those members there that day were Ms. Etta Taplin, John Howard, and Dylan Baldwin. Need a motion, and please identify yourself for the record.
Second, Dylan Baldwin.
Baldwin, thank you. Any discussion? All right, call for a vote on those. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, approval of hearing subcommittee minutes from the June 11th hearings. Ms. Etta Taplin, John Howard, and Dylan Baldwin were present that day. Need a motion? Please identify yourself for the record.
Second, Dylan Baldwin.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 8, approval of hearing subcommittee minutes from June 19th. Members present that day were Dr. Teresa Poole, Jamie Creel, and Aaron Wilson. Need a motion to approve. Please identify yourself for the record.
Teresa Poole, motion to approve.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Aaron Wilson, second.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Definitely appreciate those taking their time out for those subcommittees. As you can see, we got a lot handled in our non-regular meeting time, so thank you. Item 9, adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion for approval of agenda. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, Dylan Baldwin.
Thank you, sir. Need a second?
Second, Mary Hill Taylor.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? Vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, Mississippi Department of Education updates. Dr. Corey Murphy.
All right. Thank you so much, Chairman Martin. I'll be very brief. In 2017, 2018, the Office of Teaching and Leadership, we recognized that, we had lots of professional learning opportunities for and conferences for administrators and superintendents and so on and so forth, but nothing that focused on teachers. And so we had this idea that we wanted to elevate the teacher's profession and teaching profession, and also, while doing that, celebrate teachers and create something specifically for them from the State Department. And so the Elevate Teachers Conference was born, so to speak. And so this week we held, I think, our third or fourth annual conference, and based on the feedback received thus far from those participants, went very well. And it's something that we actually like to utilize to not only celebrate what they've done in the immediate past school year, but to empower and inspire them to continue to forge ahead and serve the kids of Mississippi. And so we appreciate, we try to show them that we appreciate them choosing to be a part of the Mississippi teacher workforce. And so I'd just like to take a moment to publicly thank Dr. Courtney Van Cleve, Bristol Ransom, Virginia Coleman, our procurement team and purchasing team for the most part, and the entire OTL and MDE colleagues who actually helped us to pull this off again this year for the most part in celebration of and inspiring teachers. I also want to thank Dr. J. Rowe and the Mississippi State University Riley Center team for opening the doors to us to allow us to host it here. And we're looking to host it somewhere else next year is the plan for the most part. But, definitely want to just take an opportunity to thank you guys for your continued support, but also publicly our team for their commitment to celebrating teachers. And so that completes my report.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Definitely heard some good things from when I was down at Mass last week, and so I think that was a great thing for teachers. It was appreciated.
Thank you.
Item 11, approval to establish one new career pathway endorsement area of unmanned aircraft systems and revise endorsement 506, special populations personnel, post-secondary only. Mr. Brett Robertson.
Morning. Good Friday morning, everybody. So Office of Career and Talent Education and Workforce Development brings two items to you today. The first, we have gotten approval through State Board and everything for a new program area to be offered to secondary schools and unmanned aircraft systems. Think about drones. But this request is for approval of teacher endorsement for that new pathway being made active for this school year. And know that the criteria for that follows the traditional CTE criteria. The initial endorsement is a 3-year endorsement with various requirements that have to be met, and then after that, once those are met, that's a 5-year conversion to a 5-year endorsement. Any questions about that one in particular?
Been a lot of interest in that?
There has been, and so what we're also looking to do is creating an enhancement course, a 1-credit course that we can use in other program areas. Think about how drones are being used in ag and how they're being used in construction. And so having an enhancement piece with this as well to teach alongside with some of our other programs that are existing.
What school districts are bringing this on, do you know?
So we piloted this in 3 school districts last year. And I'm not exactly sure which 3 those were. But we did have requests for conversions from 2 other school districts that were converting an existing program that wanted to convert that to UAS. So we should be active in 5 districts this next school year. And I'm sorry, I don't have those specific
I was
districts.
just curious, that's fine.
All right, and then item B is a request from the Mississippi Community College Board, basically to make some adjustments to the special populations positions that they have and what those changes are. The first is in education, requirements and removal of subject area requirements for that, and then also in changing the education requirement from a major or minor in certain subject areas to just a bachelor's degree or higher, but removing those specific subject areas. The intention here is just to increase their candidate pool. And then the second change was from an initial 1-year license to a 3-year license, and then once certain requirements are met, converting that to a 5-year. But like I said, essentially this is just an opportunity for them to increase their candidate pool for their special pops support teachers.
I think everybody's facing those crunches on trying to get good staff in the right places.
Subject to any questions, that's all we have today.
Any questions or discussion? All right. At this time, entertain a motion for approval to establish 1 new career pathway in the endorsement area of unmanned aircraft systems and to revise endorsement 506, special populations personnel, post-secondary only. Be sure to identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, Mary Hill Taylor.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Second, Dylan Baldwin.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Move for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Moving on to item 12, approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revise Mississippi Admin Code Title VII, Part 107, Educator Preparation Provider Process and Performance Review Guidelines to revise certain existing criteria and establish certain new criteria for federal reporting, onboarding new providers, closing providers, and deleting programs. Dr. Burson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me see if I can get this technology working here so we can get a presentation up for you. And voila, I hope we've got that done correctly. Good morning, Chairman Martin, Dr. Murphy, and members of Commission. It's my pleasure to be here today with you to bring some updates from our colleagues in higher ed. But before we begin that, I will let, Chairman Martin introduce the first item
Yes,
for
ma'am.
us, and then we'll roll with a little presentation since this deals with our process and performance review guidelines for educator prep.
Yes, ma'am.
Did
I
you
think
already go
We did
there?
our intro, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
well, then I'll take it away. So, as I said, this is our document that is the guidelines for our ed prep providers and the ones that prepare our candidates for licensure. And we start our presentations at the department, as you well know, with a vision and mission. And our vision here is to create a world-class educational system that's going to give all the students in Mississippi the knowledge and skills to be successful and to flourish college workforce and also to be, great citizens for our state and our country. And we achieve this vision through our mission is providing leadership through the development of policy and accountability systems so that our students are prepared to compete in the global community. And we are charged as MDE staff with 6 very lofty state board strategic goals. And in OTL and Educator Continuum, we focus highly on Goal 4, which is we want to see effective teachers and leaders in all of our schools. And so looking and thinking about policy and accountability, that's what the EPP guidelines are all about. And so on May the 20th, 2021, the State Board of Education approved and established the Mississippi Educator Provider Process and Performance Review Guidelines. And as I said, this is the guidance document for our preparation programs. This document replaced the 2006 Administrative Process and Performance Review, and this document is codified in Mississippi Administrative Code Title VII, Part 107. Again, a little background. We said that it's established in May of 2021, and it's a living and breathing document. We're always strengthening our processes here, and things change, standards change, and we're always thinking about ways that we can be better at what we do at all levels to produce those effective teachers and leaders. And so on February 17th of 2022, modifications were made to the guidelines, and this is when you all approved the 4-course sequence for literacy for our elementary candidates. And then again in 2023, we made some modifications. Those were around requiring common assessment scores, looking at how our EPPs submit recruitment plans for building capacity in those programs and sunsetting programs. We requested standards alignment for literacy coursework, and we modified our elementary education programs. Previously, it was 2 18-hour concentrations, and we made that 1 18-hour and 1 12 because we allowed those literacy courses to count for a supplemental endorsement. So we come to you today with some recommended revisions for 2024. And so we're recommending to revise the state report card section that's in the guidelines currently, and we're going to establish a new section to define certain criteria for federal Title II reporting around identification of at-risk of low-performing or low-performing EPPs. We're requesting to revise our current state review processes that are in the guidelines now to establish new sections for establishing new EPP approval. As you well know, we just went through onboarding of iTeach, and so we want to make sure that we have codified policies for how that's done so that it's consistently administered across the ages, if you will. How we close an EPP, and also EPP continuing state approval processes. We have revised or we're requesting revisions to the student-teacher placement report, removing certain criteria, not adding anything, but just removing some pieces on that. Revising the current program review pieces in the guidelines, mainly revising some language, but we are establishing a new section around deleting programs. Again, codifying that process, what it looks like. And a big part of this request for change is to remove the components in the guidelines currently that are our procedural aspects for program review and transfer that into a new document that won't be codified, but it will be our EPP program review workbook. And that'll be processes that we do with our EPPs collaboratively around how we review the programs, and also removing the appendices section from this codified document. So we will be moving from a 118-page codified document to 46 pages of pure policy. But then those other pieces, I see some nods, will be a workbook that I think will be, we believe will be a much more user-friendly, yes, document. And so just to give you a little background, since we're asking for approval for APA, this does go out for public comment because it is a document that impacts our shareholders, so we will be taking public comment. But on the front end of the comments, wanted you all to know the things that we've done collaboratively and the communications that we've had with shareholders before we come to you with this request. So we started back in 2022 with our EPP deans getting some feedback on the federal Title II reporting metrics. These are data that we're already collecting. We just need to codify what the baselines are when we're establishing those at risk of low performing or low performing. We did that in 22 and in 23. And then in 24, we met with our deans and MDE and CEDAR and some of our superintendents and had more conversations around the guidelines and the changes that we were requesting. And then in March, all the way through May, we were able to visit on the campus of each of our EPPs and share the proposed changes, and the feedback resulted in some clarified language for the low performing and at risk of low performing. We clarified language for recommending candidates upon program closure. We solidified the date to make sure we had the dates and the timeline that would work best for all parties involved. EPPs strongly agreed with creating the program review workbook. The EPPs agreed with the new sections that we were adding for adding EPPs and closing EPPs. And they also agreed with removal of certain components of the student teaching report. So that concludes what we have. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain those now.
And just flipping through it, a lot of those changes I saw just kind of streamline the process, but then a lot of it was because of federal requirements and things you had to do to cover us under title and other sections, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Dr. Burson? Yes, ma'am?
Okay, so I just want to thank you. Fairly new dean. First of all, the procedures in place really, it's really lays it out. So I understand, and I really appreciate the process that you took in coming in to speak with us personally and talking to us collectively. That has really cleared up a lot, especially with, like you said, the federal guidelines. A lot of times people don't understand why that's being asked. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you speaking with our faculty about that. So now they understand, and then they value. People value what's actually expected of them. So we appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Poole. We had great visits, and in addition, let me just share this little bit. We were able to bring with us for the visits our educator workforce specialists that serve our congressional districts, and so it was a great time for us to connect some of the things that are going on in our districts and EPPs to share what they're doing so that our educator workforce specialists, when they're out in the districts and working with faculty, students, or leadership, they can share some of the good information that is going on with the programs and campaigns on our campuses. So we had some good conversations. They were great visits.
Sounds like a good process and good opportunity for y'all to work together to create those changes. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Any other discussion? Questions? Entertain a motion for approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revise Mississippi Admin Code Title VII, Part 107, Educator Preparation Provider Process and Performance Review Guidelines to revise certain existing criteria, establish new criteria for federal reporting, onboarding new providers, closing providers, and deleting programs. Need a motion, and please identify yourself for the record.
Motion for approval. Teresa J. Rice. Second, Tim Hubbard.
J-Row with the motion, Hubbard with the second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Move for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Person. Sir? Yeah, she's got our next items as well. All right, our next two items, 13 and 14, we'll ask Dr. J-Rowe, if you would please step out and exit as we go over the request for Mississippi State. All right, moving on to item 13, approval for Mississippi State University request to modify its existing licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of special education, mild, moderate disabilities, K-8, by adding equivalent graduate level coursework to allow candidates to complete 18 hours of undergraduate level coursework or graduate level coursework or a combination thereof for obtaining the supplemental endorsement. Dr. Burson.
Yes, sir. So, the last document is our policy document in the accountability piece. And so, as you know, as commissioners, when our EPPs wish to make changes and modifications to programs, they come to you and then to the board. So this first is from Mississippi State, as mentioned. Mississippi State has an existing supplemental endorsement for K-8 special education. And so what they're requesting is to add graduate coursework that will be equivalent to their existing approved bachelor's coursework, so that if a candidate, say, takes 2 courses in undergraduate and then wants to complete the endorsement at the graduate level, then they can add the graduate courses, yes, I see some nods, and then it would come together and it would fulfill the requirements for the endorsement. So maybe can't get it all in during the bachelor's, coming back for a master's, let's finish off that endorsement. And so that's what this would be. So there, and you saw that in your backup. I don't think read the list of courses, but these are the courses that would count for the equivalencies.
All right, so with that, they're looking for a request approval to rescind the previous one we had back in May. So entertain a motion for approval request to rescind action taken on item number 8 as it appeared on our May 3rd, 2024 Licensing Commissioner meeting agenda, and approval of Mississippi State University's current request to modify its existing licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of special education, mild, moderate disabilities, K-8, by adding equivalent graduate level coursework to allow candidates to complete 18 hours of undergraduate level coursework or graduate level coursework or a combination thereof for obtaining the supplemental endorsement. Need a motion for approval. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, William Murphy.
Thank you, sir. Need a second?
Second, John Howard.
Ms. Taplin beat you by just a bit. Any further discussion? For a vote, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 14, also from Mississippi State University, request to modify its existing licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of special education, mild, moderate disabilities 712 by adding equivalent graduate level coursework to allow candidates to complete 15 hours of undergraduate level coursework or graduate level coursework or a combination thereof for obtaining the supplemental endorsement. Dr. Burson.
Yes, sir, thank you. And this mirrors the last item. Again, as you mentioned, we did look at the coursework in May, but there was more than just the coursework approval that was needed. It was the equivalency piece. And so just as you just approved the K-8, which was 18 hours, this is the 712 special education, which is 15 hours. Again, the coursework would be approved at the graduate level, but also to count as equivalencies to the bachelor's level that's existing. It's already approved. So,
All right, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the request to rescind action taken on item number 9 as it appeared on the May 3rd, 2024 Licensure Commission meeting agenda, and approval of Mississippi State University's current request to modify its existing licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of special education, mild, moderate disabilities, 7 through 12, by adding equivalent graduate level coursework to allow candidates to complete 15 hours in undergraduate level coursework or graduate level coursework or a combination thereof for obtaining the supplemental endorsement. Need a motion, and please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, Aaron Wilson.
Thank you, sir. Need a second?
Second, Jamie Creel.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Call for our vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll wait just a moment, allow Dr. J. Rowe to join us again. All right, we'll move on to item 15. Approval of Alcorn State University's request to offer the Mississippi State Board approved non-traditional teacher education preparation licensure track Master of Arts in Teaching, MAT, K through 6 elementary education program. Dr. Burson.
Thank you. So the Masters of Arts in Teaching 4-6 has been around for a while, as you all know, and we have had a huge outpouring from districts wanting more elementary people, right, more teachers, K-6. So in February of 2022, the State Board of Education approved a modification to the 4-6 that would allow candidates that complete the full master's degree to earn the K-6 120 endorsement. And so we have several EPPs that already offer this, and Alcorn is wanting to join that cadre of EPPs offering the Masters of Arts in Teaching K-6. And so the coursework that the board approved was 9 hours of pre-teaching coursework, 12 hours of literacy, 3 hours of science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM or a math methods, and 3 hours of research because it is a graduate level program, as well as 6 hours of internship. And the course, Alcorn's request meets the state board's approval of the courses required. They will be offering ED 521 management techniques for the classroom, ED 527 evaluation and measurement in schools, a psychology of the exceptional child, the early literacy 1 and 2, diagnostic corrective procedures in reading, reading and writing across the curriculum. That's that 4-course sequence that our elementary candidates have to have. Problems in teaching arithmetic, methods in educational research, and internship 1 and 2.
Entertain a motion for approval of Alcorn State University request to offer the Mississippi State Board approved non-traditional teacher education preparation licensure track Masters of Art in Teaching K through 6 elementary education program. Please identify yourself for the record. Kaplan, thank you. Need a second?
Second, William Murphy.
Second for Mr. Murphy, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 16, approval of Alcorn State University's request to establish a licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of childhood development, pre-K and K. Dr. Burson.
Thank you. As you know, once a candidate is initially licensed, they can receive supplemental endorsements. And so with this, Alcorn is requesting to add an approved program supplemental endorsement for pre-KK. You also know that we need more pre-K teachers, right? And so what they're requesting would be a pathway that would allow their candidates in elementary ed who are completing their traditional elementary education program and earning that 120 to add the pre-K 153 by completing the 4 courses that you see here: Child Development and Public Policy, Child Development 2, Principles and Practices of Teaching Early Childhood, and Children's Social, Emotional, and Intellectual Development in Early Childhood Education. So those would be courses that their elementary candidates in the K-6 program would take along with their other courses as either electives or either just add on afterwards, but they could add this to their license and then be certified to teach pre-K through 6.
Good deal. And again, just expanding our teacher pool and those opportunities, so.
It is meeting a need.
Entertain a motion of approval for Alcorn State University's request to establish the licensure track supplemental endorsement area, child development pre-KK. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve, Kim Hubbard.
Motion, Ms. Hubbard.
Second, Mary Hill Taylor.
Second, Ms. Hill Taylor. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 17, approval of Mississippi University for Women's request to establish a licensure track supplemental endorsement in the area of reading K-12. Dr. Burson.
Last one. So the W is requesting to add that literacy sequence at the graduate level. They have the undergraduate courses. Those undergraduate literacy courses are embedded within the K-6 program for all of our EPPs. But if they have candidates coming back for masters and they want to earn the reading endorsement and they don't have it currently, they would take the course sequence, the Literacy 1, Literacy 2, integrating reading and writing across the curriculum, diagnosing and assessing reading difficulties in children, and pass foundations of reading, and then they would add the supplemental endorsement 174 for reading.
All right, we'll entertain a motion for approval of Mississippi University for Women's request to establish a licensure track supplemental endorsement area of reading K through 12. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to approve, Aaron Wilson.
Thank you, sir. Need a second?
Second, Mary Hill Taylor.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Burst. I know that was a lot of work with those. Appreciate it. Moving on to item 18, approval of ratifications of agreed-upon orders and/or voluntary surrenders. Mr. Scott DeYoung.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. Good morning, everyone. The Office of Educator Misconduct today has only one agreed order to present to you for consideration of ratification. In the matter of Educator License 231694, on or about April 4th, 24, Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C from Union County School District alleging Lauren Labella violated Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. The respondent admits that during the 2023-2024 school year, while employed as an educator with Union County School District, violated standard for the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and standards of conduct, including standard 4.2F. Upon execution of this agreed order, respondent's educator license 231694 to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be suspended for a period of 2 calendar years from the date of acceptance by the commission. It's further agreed that the respondent shall, at her own expense, complete a seminar or coursework equivalent to no less than 3 course hours related to educator ethics from a reputable source satisfactory to the commission prior to the conclusion of the revocation period. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the course to the Office of Educator Misconduct prior to or contemporaneous with any petition for reinstatement. Respondent may petition for reinstatement of her educator's license following the conclusion of the revocation period if eligible. Such reinstatement shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the commission. The commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the commission present at the meeting called for that purpose, upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. Again, that's the one and only agreed order that we have for you to consider today for ratification. The Office of Educator Misconduct respectfully requests that you consider this.
Sir, appreciate that, and appreciate the work on all the subcommittee meetings as well we had prior, or since our last one. So that's
Thank
a lot
you.
of work. Appreciate everybody making themselves available to make those happen. That will entertain a motion for approval of agreed upon order or motion take under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record and your motion.
Motion to approve, Mary Hill Taylor.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Second, Jamie Creel.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, once again, appreciate everybody making themselves available today. I know it's summertime and we've all got plenty of stuff to do, and with school right around the corner, you've got extra stuff to do besides enjoy summer. So we appreciate everybody making the time. Definitely appreciate those of you that come in and serve on the subcommittees. And thank you to MDE, Dr. Murphy, and all of y'all that make those, meeting out with the colleges and making this as easy a process as possible. So appreciate you. Hope everybody has a great day. Moving on to item 19, adjournment. Entertain a motion for approval to adjourn.
Motion to approve, Teresa Poole.
Second, Dylan Baldwin.
Second, Baldwin.
Second,
Thank you.
John Howard.
That, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Just a reminder, our next meeting is Friday, September 6th. We'll be getting reminders on that. Meeting is adjourned at 10:45 a.m.